All right, so here's the situation. You're in camp, or you're out hunting, or something like that. Maybe it's the fall or the winter, but temperatures are dropping, right? And you're trying to figure out how to keep your hands warm. Now, you could go to the big box store and get yourself some of those hot hand warmers, you know. They work really well. But the problem that I've found with those type of hand warmers is they're warm, but they're not really warm enough for me. So if you have poor circulation, or if you want just a little bit more heat, maybe if nothing else as a backup, then having an old school hand warmer may be the choice for you. Now, this video, we're actually going to take a look at a really cool antique hand warmer that was sent to me by Mr. Denny and his grandson. They gifted me this to share with you guys, and it's really cool because it's extremely rare. And it has a feature to it that my other hand warmer that I showed last year doesn't have. So if you're interested in that video after this one, check it out, because I go into the long history about hand warmers. That's not what this one's going to be about. This one's going to be more about the breakdown of the hand warmer and how to solve your problem of keeping the charcoal sticks lit. Because, you know, if you've used these antique type hand warmers or a traditional hand warmer, that can be a problem for many people. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So what do we have here in front of me? I have a candle, because that's what we're going to use for our demonstration on to start the charcoal stick that we need. We have our antique hand warmer that I will show and talk to you about, a little bit of its history here in a little bit. We have our marbles match case with some Strike Anywhere matches. Now, if you're interested in one of these match cases, you can get one by checking out my affiliate link below. They're super cheap and it makes a great gift if you're interested. And we have our charcoal sticks. Now, again, I have a link below for this one as well. There's a lot of different makers, but as far as reviews go, I found this one had the highest reviews. I've used two different types, and I actually prefer this one. It seems to stay lit a little bit longer, and it's a little bit more reliable. And I have the hand warmer that I showed you in my video from last year. Now, this is just to show you a comparison more than anything. All right, let's start with the hand warmer. Now, this bag, I do not believe is a regular cotton bag. It feels like it's some other material. It may be. It's really old. It's over 100 years old at this point. When I take this out, we have a blue metal case that's also covered in a fabric. Now, what's really cool about this artifact is I can easily date it. I can put it in a range of a very few years, because the company itself didn't last very long, not very long at all. There were other makers of hand warmers at the time, and this company even patented a very particular way of making charcoal to light in this type of hand warmers. And they made warmers for cars, made warmers for your home, all sorts of different things. But this is the pocket warmer. It's made by a company called Taplex, and it has Pat P, which means it's patent pending. And on the very back of it, it has some very brief instructions. It says, before closing the cover, allow warmer to become very hot. Fuel must be perfectly dry or it will not burn. If warmer does not remain hot, ignite fuel again. Damp fuel will dry out with first ignition. Now, this is much simpler than this one here. Of course, the size, this one's a lot wider, takes up a little bit more space in your pocket than this one, but because of the way this one's made, it doesn't extinguish like these have a tendency to do. But because it is so efficient in producing heat, it may be too hot for the starter. Now, I believe the surrounding material is a fireproof material. It does have a sheen to it, and it does seem to be woven. If we take a look at the inside, it has a paper charcoal tube. This is an original paper charcoal tube. This is the type of thing that was patented by the Taplex company. So having the original paper tube is just a sweet, sweet bonus. So Mr. Denny, I can't tell you again how much I appreciate this gift and how cool it is to have an original. Now the paper itself is almost like a cigarette paper or a rice paper. It's very, very thin. It's very, very brittle, and it does have a few holes in it where it was torn just slightly, and some of the charcoal is coming out of it. Now the inside of this container is very basic. It's got essentially a spring. Now the reason why it has that spring is because this tube goes inside of it and it holds it steady. Now of course as it's burning, it's going to crumble and become ash and things like that, but it holds it in place roughly in the center. So we can use the charcoal sticks in the same way, and this will stay moderately in place. But the rest of it is just a very open tin. So the spring compartment that keeps it in the center along with the charcoal tube, that's really what the patent was for. Now it was patented, I believe, in 1919. Now the company itself, Taplex, only lasted from 1917 to 1922. Isn't that insane? It only lasted from 1917 to 1922. So we got the World War I until just right after World War I and before the Great Depression. All right, so a lot of your historic hand warmers had a bag like this. Now this is just extra protection to keep you safe from being burned, more or less than anything. But because it has the spring, it does a good job of keeping the stick in place. Because of the fireproof material, including the bottom and the top, it does a good job of keeping you safe. Now there are some holes in the top. Now that's to make sure that it gets the airflow, because without air inside, the stick's going to extinguish. So you got to have some type of airflow for it to stay lit and the coal to burn out. All right, we're using a candlestick to light the charcoal sticks because sometimes it takes a little while, especially if there is a little bit of moisture in the sticks. The drier they are, the better it is. You definitely want to keep them and store them in a dry, safe place. If you're going camping, having a tin, a long tin, would be really useful to make sure that they don't get wet or a lot of dampness doesn't get into them. So we have our marbles match case. We're going to strike this. I never get tired of seeing Strike Anywhere matches light. Okay, so we got our candle lit. Now let's take a look at the charcoal sticks. Now if you remember from last video, or if you haven't seen it yet, having this type of hand warmer, it has this insulation that keeps it pretty safe, but because it has so much enclosing it, it sometimes gets difficult to keep them lit. This, on the other hand, because it's so open, isn't going to have that same problem, but it may also burn out quicker. So you take your stick, you put it up to your open flame, this is why we're using the candle, because sometimes it does take a while to really catch. And you want to make sure that it catches all the way around. You'll notice it starts to turn a little bit gray. You may see some of the bright red ember as it starts to ignite. But getting the edges isn't the problem. It's usually getting the inside of the stick that's the problem. Now, you test it by blowing on it. Now, blowing on it also will increase the heat into the center, so you want to make sure it's all red. All right. Once it's red all the way in the center, then you can drop this inside your tin. Doesn't matter if it's on the bottom or if it's on the top. And you can close it. And it'll start warming up. Already, I can feel the heat It doesn't take long at all. Comparison to this one, because of it being insulated, it takes a little while for you to really feel the heat on this one. This one, not so much. Right away, it starts going because of that spring on the very bottom. That's another reason why it works so well, is because I put the red ember down towards the bottom, but that lower spring keeps it from going all the way to the bottom. So that airflow is still there, but also it doesn't extinguish. All right. Now you can light these on both ends. It increases the heat, but of course it's going to decrease the amount of time that you have for it to stay warm. So you'll have to reload it if that's the case. That's what you decide to do. That's so nice. Now chances are, historically, they use asbestos for fireproofing items. So it's very likely that this material has some asbestos. Now, as long as asbestos isn't in a fibrous or in a way that's starting to break down, it's safe to people. But I want to put that as a caveat out there. If you find historical items like this or other things that were particularly fireproof, chances are it has asbestos with it. So do not breathe in, do not tear apart, do not sand, do not flake off, and if it is, then get rid of it. Because if that stuff gets in your lungs, then it can cause some serious health issues. But since this is intact, this is pretty safe to use. I love this thing. This is so cool. So then they would put it in the bag, like so, just as an extra precaution to make sure, because it does get hot. It gets quite a bit hotter than this one. And having just that little bit of air around it kind of gives you a little bit more insulation safety so you don't burn your skin or burn your pant leg or something like that. So there you go. That is the Taplex hand warmer. Now, if you like this video, please click like. That way other people find it. It helps them out as well. Share it with others, especially if they're a hunter or outdoor enthusiast and they like this kind of history, because it's pretty cool. And if you really wanted to, you could make yourself one very similar to this. It's not that difficult. So making yourself a homemade hand warmer with a tin wouldn't be that bad. It's just really cool getting to hold antique items and vintage items to tell you guys about it. I learned so much from it. Like, who knew such a thing like this company lasting from 1917, 1922. Didn't last very long at all, but had some patents out there, and this is one of the survivors. And I even have the original box. The original box is all but disintegrated, but Mr. Denny did have the original box with it, and you got the paper tube. It's so cool being able to see something like that and be able to handle it, research it, and be able to use it, at least in a light situation. You know, want to be able to make sure that the next generation can also enjoy some of these really nice inventions. So, if you've liked this video so far, please give it a like. That way other people find it and it helps them out as well. You want to make sure to hit subscribe, because next week we're going to be taking a look at Nesmic's hatchet. We're going to start breaking down that particular hatchet, and then the following week we'll be looking at Mr. Kephart's hatchet and doing some comparisons. I promise you get these hatchet videos back in the summer. Well, Mr. Lockhart was able to make them for me. He broke away from his busy schedule and was able to finish them. And I still have, as of right now, one of each of these that I can sell for $200. Mr. Lockhart said he's not making any more of them. He only gave me one extra of each head. So if that's something you want, then send me an email, and hopefully I still have one. If not, reach out to Mr. Lockhart, and I'll put an update in this video once they're sold in the description. So if you watch this later and you're wanting one, you can see if I still have it or not. But if it's not updated, they're still available. I also have my cookbook, my historical cookbook that is now out. It's selling for $25. It is a digital cookbook. Now, the nice thing about digital is you have your cell phone on you. You know, you can download it on your cell phone. You always have it available. But it has 97 recipes spanning between 1898 and, if I remember right, 1927, I think, 1927. 97 various historical campcraft recipes. They're perfect for the bushcrafter or camp crafter. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to hit subscribe. That way, you know, you don't miss any videos. If you're interested in this particular item and want to know more history about hand warmers, then you want to check out the video here. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Give a kiss and hug to your loved ones, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.